Hey, what's up, everybody? It is your girl JoJo. I am here with the review for the Family Empire Houston. I hope you guys are doing good today. I am doing well. So I know it's been a couple of weeks since you all have heard from me. The show was not on. It took a leave of absence. So I took a leave of absence. I wasn't reviewing anything else. And so I decided to just go ahead and take a break while it took a break. It was a much needed break. You guys know I just moved not too long ago, and oh my gosh, I just been trying to get settled in, and then I was working out in Houston for a month, and then finally got to come back home. So just a lot, child, just a lot. So I'm just getting settled back in. I hope you guys have enjoyed your time since we have last spoken to one another, and that's all the preliminaries I got, y'all. So let's talk about what happened on the show. Oh my gosh, y'all. Since the show has been on hiatus, I feel like I'm relearning these names all over again. All right, so there is a meeting that needs to happen between Jermisha, Nicole, what's the other cousin's name, and her husband, Chris. Y'all know that the past couple of episodes, they've been having this back and forth with Chris about his job position, what his pay is going to be. So they presented to him, basically, we're going to pay you the same thing. We also need to get this contract together, and you decide if you're going to sign it or not. He didn't feel like the contract was fair. Nicole said he called it a 360 deal. But he did what I thought he should do, which is come to the table with his own terms and conditions, presented that back to them. It sounded like the same contract to me that he presented to them is what they presented to him. But he was fine with the pay and all of that. And so they discussed having a relationship again, a business relationship. But Jermisha and Nicole have upped the ante a little bit. They want to now tell Chris that they want him to work exclusively for Braden Real Estate Group. Jermisha says it's a conflict of interest. We want our brand to be tailored a certain way, so we don't want you tailoring somebody else's brand the same way that you do ours, because we want to stand out in that way. Is this kind of like, it's not really a non-compete, huh? That's not the same thing. So I don't know what this would be called, but they want it to be exclusive to them, right? And before Chris and his wife, why don't I remember Jermisha and what is the other sister's name? I'm sorry, you guys. I'm really sorry. I know I need to do better. But before the two of them even said that ups the cost, I said that ups the cost. Like, before it even came out their mouth, I was like, oh, they got to pay him more money. And sure enough, they turned around and was like, yeah, that means that the price gonna go up. And it should. If you want me to only work for you, then they start talking about a probationary period and all this other stuff. Listen. If y'all gonna do a probationary period during this time, can he work for other people during these, 60 or 90 days or whatever? Because during the probationary period, they want the pay to remain the same until he shows himself to be reliable and prove that he can do the work, because they've had problems with him in the past, maybe not necessarily being as reliable. And I get that, but I don't know if you could say for 90 days, we don't want you working for nobody else but us. And then we going to decide in that 90 days if we going to pay you more or not. You get what I'm saying? Like, it seems like you would probably have to pay him more now, or at least some type of overtime, I guess. And then, I don't know, child. This is why I don't have no business or no employees. What y'all think they need to do? Baby, I'm going to need a straw. For the level of sucker-jawea that Jermisha is doing with all of the G1s, child, she is trying to get this deal off the ground, baby. She gonna do what she gotta do. So she come with a whole bunch of flowers, y'all. She got a bouquet. She taking her auntie to surgery, ironically, but while she taking her auntie to surgery, she gonna try to get this deal off at the same time. I was laughing so hard when they was like, what's the occasion? Jermisha said, oh, I can't do nothing nice. No, Jermisha, you can't. What do you want? Because we know you want something. And I just remembered y'all, the other cousin's name is Jaquita. I don't know why I couldn't remember it, so forgive me. But anyway, right here, she is taking her auntie to surgery, but she want to talk about DeLynn just a little bit more, because she know that Auntie Cheryl has been turned the holdout, and Auntie Cheryl is giving her all types. The side eye was eternal in that front seat, but she's telling them basically, and I don't feel like Jermisha was being disrespectful. I feel like she was telling it how she sees it, like what her viewpoint is. And I thought that she still was being respectful, but she tells them, listen, like, y'all just it's starting to feel like y'all just worried about a payday. Like y'all just looking for a payday. And they like, oh, hold up now. We still your aunties. Mind your lip when you talking to us. But Auntie Cheryl says, like, we are looking for inheritance, not a payday. This is our inheritance. These are our parents. This is the natural order of things. You know, G1 is very big about the order. She explains as a G2, she understands that they want their inheritance, and she's not trying to take that from them. She not trying to take their payday is what she call it, not inheritance. She not trying to take it from them. But what she's saying is, even if she don't make no money off of this for the next 30 years, if she don't collect her dividends until later, she fine with that. They can collect their dividends first, which I think will probably ease their minds. But I understand both sides of this coin. I understand G2's side because they're younger and they're seeing the bigger picture. They're seeing how this money can grow over time. They're seeing how they can make more off of a $70,000 investment, turn it into something bigger. Why sell when we can put that money in our pockets? I've had those thoughts as well. I love my family. I love the fact that I do have land to go to. If anything ever happens, I always got a place that I can call home. If I want to build on it, I can. If I don't want to build on it, I don't have to. But I don't think that my family, especially like with my grandma's generation, I don't necessarily feel like they were thinking, what can I do to collect more money on this land? So we live on it and we have a place to live and we have a place to put our home, but we're essentially just, you know, paying our mortgages, paying off our homes or whatever. We don't really collect off of the investment. So all of us is, you know, we have an asset, but child, my family ain't got no money now. We're not particularly rich people or anything like that. So I think I get what Jermisha is saying. Like, we could really turn this into more. We could really turn this into dividends for the entire family and also solidifying that legacy. I totally get what she's saying. I get G1's side because G1 is older. G1 has put their time in. Now, granted, they put their time in differently. They may not have had the same entrepreneurial mindset that their kids have on such a large scale. Like, maybe they opened up a business, or maybe they worked for the family business, because I do remember hearing like a hair salon, and maybe they had like a little store. Looks like they help with the event center a good bit. So they have put their time in as well, whether it's in like, you know, more so in a labor type of sense, and maybe not like a big financial investment. Like some of the G2s have started a company and they've been entrepreneurs in the real estate business, maybe not on a grand scale, but they have put time in too. And so they want to collect on the time and the work that they have put in, although it may have looked different than the work that G2 is currently putting in. So I get both sides. You know, we're older. We've already put all the time in. We on the other end of life right now. We want to relax. We ain't really trying to think about no business deals that y'all trying to do that, you know, honestly, we don't even know when we going to see the money off of that. Now, we've been using all of our time and resources up front, and baby, it's time to collect, okay? What did Donald Lawrence say? Get your inheritance. We ready for it now. So, I get both of their sides. I think in the end, they are going to work something out, but it's probably going to take a little finagling to make sure that just about everybody is happy. Okay, so Jermisha and her husband are having like a little family day. They're with the kids and they're playing football, and the boys are acting like they have no idea what she's talking about when she's mentioning these football positions. She's not good at football, but they know what she's talking about, child, and they just making her feel crazy. What was that little device that her husband had in his hand? Because he was very preoccupied with it, and I don't know what that was. At first I was like, is he operating a drone? But anyway, he had something in his hand that he kept looking at, like while they were playing and during the conversation. So anyway, she's talking to him about the luxury branding that they're moving to with the real estate group. And her husband always presses her to make sure that the company and the people, their business, make sure that they recognize that Jermisha is actually the agent. She's actually the broker. She's the one that actually can do a lot of the home selling. And so a lot of times it's Nicole that's the face of the brand and the face of the marketing, but Jermisha is actually the one who really has the
the skill set and the I guess you could say certification, the know-how to really get the sales done and move the everything. She's the one with the brains. She's the admin. She has all of that. And the husband wants to make sure that Jermisha is recognizing she needs to be in on some of these decisions too. Like, it doesn't just need to be Nicole pushing that brand, right? And so Jermisha understands that, and she also talks to him about how she wants to do all of these things, but she also wants to still be a wonderful mom and a good wife, and she wants to be able to have all of these things and also have her business. And I don't know if I've mentioned it in a while, but you guys know I saw a tweet that I should have screenshotted years ago on Twitter where a girl said, some people think you can't have it all: a successful career, the husband, and the kids. But I'm here to tell you, you can have none of these. And I laughed because it was funny, but it's also kind of true. While I know women who do it all the time, a lot of times when you're trying to do all three things, something inevitably just suffers. Like, it's not that it's not good, it's just not the best that you could do. It's not up to par. You may have some struggles with it. And I understand, I'm not a mother, but I can understand how you want to be the best mother for your children. But I'm just here to say to all the moms out there, it is very hard to do all of these things and be a mother without help. Now, Jermisha has a big family, so I'm pretty sure she gets hands-on help with her children. Her husband seems to be helpful as well, but a lot of times you need more, even more than that. Even if it's you and your husband, sometimes you need more. Y'all too get worn out. Not to mention the things that happen. Looks like she's been through a pregnancy recently. She has a 1-year-old. To your body with pregnancy, hormones sometimes are never the same. Your hormones affect your mood, your hair growth, your bone density. And I know people that got sciatica, they ain't never got better after they had that baby. Honey, I had a girl that I was rooming with one day. She just couldn't get out the bed. Just couldn't get out the bed. Had no problems with sciatic nerve pain prior to her pregnancy. So, and then everything you deal with after, the children, making time for each other. And I've heard husbands say they miss their wife once they start having kids because the time is just gone. So it's just a lot of things that weigh on you. And then even when you do, make the money, you start having the mom guilt from making the money. Like, am I present enough? So it's a lot. And I feel for her and I feel for all moms out there. But I'm just here to tell you guys, even when you've seen people doing it back in the day, because I know we talk about our grandmas and our great grandmas, but I can only speak for my family. My great grandma was a lot more village oriented. So was my grandma. They had a lot of help raising their kids. And this is the 70s, 60s. You could send your kids outside and not have to keep a keen eye on them because people, the world was just different. I know I'm going on and on, but I say all of this to say, please do not compare yourself too much to mothers of the past because times are different. A lot has changed for the good and some for the bad. And even back then, a lot of them were helping each other raise each other's kids. If we look from our other side, the other community prior to Jim Crow, we was raising some of their kids. So include and our own, but we won't get into that. So it's just a lot. Don't feel like you constantly need to compare yourself, and know that it's okay to get some help. Automate as much as you can, and don't feel guilt about getting the help. Please. You need the help. If you want to do all of these things, have the business, the husband, the kids, you're going to have to get some help in there somewhere. Okay? Don't feel bad, ladies. And gentlemen, you too. All right? Don't be ashamed of getting your wife some help or as a couple getting some help. There's nothing wrong with it. Anyway, let's move on. Now, speaking of parenting, let's talk about these two. First of all, Nicole has a daughter because it's giving no kids. I thought this woman didn't have any children. I don't know how I missed it, but it's very much giving no kids. So she's talking to her husband about the rodeo party they have coming up as a family. And she's all excited and showing him all these outfits. They look rodeo stuff is very expensive. So the stuff she was pulling out, I know regular rodeo stuff is expensive. So her all them beads and jewelry and fringe and leather. I know she paid a pretty penny for that stuff. That stuff is high. I just got some rodeo stuff recently, so I know. But that's been my new bag, going to the rodeos and stuff. So anyway, the husband is just kind of like, oh, I got to go get something else. Y'all not finna show me up, because he happens to be off this Saturday. So he's going to go to the party. I take it he's usually not at a lot of family functions. And in all honesty, y'all, after seeing the stuff with Chris and all of that, I wouldn't want my husband working for the family business. I like that her husband is separate. He may not be bringing in the same amount of money she is, but child, the peace of mind in knowing that you ain't got to be wrapped up in the family business is probably a good thing. They started talking about how the adoption people are coming over today because they're interested in adopting. It's not giving that at all. I mean, it's none of it. I'm like, did I miss something? So they already have a daughter. There were some complications. They had her conceived her naturally, but she had a lot of complications. Undoubtedly, it's something that she doesn't want to go through again, which is why she's thinking about adoption. The husband is not 100% on board, and Nicole seems to be doing a lot of moving without talking to him. She claims that she told him that the adoption person was coming over. He just wasn't listening. But I feel like if an adoption person was coming to your home, that would be a constant conversation. Like, what questions do you have? Let's sit down together and write down our questions. Are we thinking about a newborn? Are we thinking about an older? Like, let's sit down and talk about what we really want to do. How are you feeling about the situation? Are you on board? What are your hesitations? That seems like something we would discuss as a couple and as a family as well. So I just don't. It's not really, something isn't gelling with these two. And did you notice that the adoption person said, one thing stood out to me. She was like, so, once you do this, this is legally binding paperwork. So even if you all were to get divorced, one of you would still be responsible possibly for child support if one person has custodial. I said, I wonder why I'm sure it's her normal spiel, but I just found it interesting that she mentioned even if y'all divorce. It's probably her normal spiel, but something about it made me wonder. But these two just don't seem connected. Even when they have conversation, they come off as homies. Like, we see each other in passing. They're not coming off as husband and wife to me. I do believe there's something going on there. I don't know if they're staying together for their daughter, or if maybe they just need to get into some, maybe like get the intimacy back in their relationship. That's what is missing. There's no intimacy with these two. They just seem like homies. They seem like two people who, occasionally link up and have lunch. Like, it's not giving a husband and wife vibe to me. But I know all couples aren't all over each other, but there's just like no level of bonding. Even when they have conversations, he talks like he almost don't know what's going on. And she talks to him like, don't embarrass me. So I don't know. I thought the adoption thing was weird. I don't think these two are ready for adoption. They definitely need to get their relationship right first, because ain't no need in taking a child from one situation and bringing them into a dysfunctional situation. All right. So let's not do that. And I don't even think her husband's 100% on board anyway. I've grown very tired of this Keisha situation. I've grown very tired. And it's not really anything to do with Keisha herself or Nicole. I want them to, these two women are in their 40s, right? I want them to, that was going to sound heartless. I was about to say get over it. That's not right, because it's taken them this long to even really openly discuss it. But we did find out some new things. Okay. So while they're talking to the therapist, Nicole refers to Keisha as an outside child. She says that her father, was with her mother. She was born in, I want to say January. They were born within a couple of months of each other. All right. She had two women pregnant at the same time. And she says that, my dad went and he had an outside child, and we've just been dealing with that. And Keisha was like, I really do have a problem with the outside child comment, because I wouldn't refer to myself as an outside child. My father was dating two women. He got them both pregnant, and Nicole's mother happened to stay with him. So I think he ended up marrying Nicole's mother, right? But she doesn't refer to herself as an outside child, okay? I think I would agree with that. When I hear outside child, I do think to myself, two people who are married and the husband or the wife goes out and has another child by somebody else. But still trifling either way, because now you got these ghetto twins. You having sex with both of these women unprotected. Obviously, you don't care about them, in my opinion. And now you got these children walking around with all these wounds. Really, daddy need to be called to the carpet. But I got a feeling that the daddy don't really want to be involved with none of this. And he kind of is just probably gonna be like, oh, I did what I did and ain't no going back, so what y'all want me to say about it at this point. If he was a little bit more emotionally available, maybe he could help facilitate this relationship with the two of them, but they're kind of just left to their own devices to mend it on their own. But no, I wouldn't say Keisha was an outside child either. She just a ghetto twin, and he married Nicole's mother. She won a prize, I guess, when she was able to marry him. And Keisha was treated differently, of course. She was brought around by an aunt. A DNA test had to be had sometime later, so it seems like I'm gonna say she was an unclaimed child, but not an outside one, because he had 2 illegitimate children, both by women he was not married to. He got 2 women pregnant that he was not married to. But she was an unclaimed child for sure, which I'm sure is hurtful in and of itself. Like, I got to bogart my way into this family. I don't know. It's a lot to heal here. It probably will never be on the level that Keisha would like it to be on, because let's be honest, you guys, when you grow up in a separate house from your siblings, we know how it goes. Your mama's kids is like your mama's kids. Then your daddy's kids is... It's just different. It is. It's just, even though you try to facilitate the best relationships you can, a lot of times it's different. And if it don't apply to you, please don't accept it. Please. I don't want to argue. It just don't apply to you. They both talked to the therapist about not necessarily feeling heard. Nicole feels like, Keisha started off and said, sometimes I think you could listen and consider what I'm saying to you a little bit more. But Nicole actually feels the same way when it comes to Keisha. They talked about that the very first episode. So I don't know. I don't see this relationship getting to the level that Keisha would like it to be on. I just don't see it. It would be great if it could happen, but I don't see either one of them investing the time into it for it to become possible. So y'all let me know how y'all feel though. Now, lastly, they do end up having the rodeo party. I don't really know. So many things happen at this party. So, of course, they all had a good time. But then Nicole ends up talking to, I believe she's talking to one of the aunts about the land and how she thinks they can divide it up, do some single family homes, then sell those, give that money to the G1s, and then also rent out some. And so whatever G1 she's talking to is kind of on board for that. Then Oscarine come around, they talking to her. It's so many people like kind of laying stuff out and joining the conversation that Oscarine is just like, hold on now my 5 children come first. Like, let's not forget that. She ain't never gonna let you forget it. But I think she's on board as long as her children are taken care of. Like, that's her biggest thing. Then Jermisha's husband come over there because he asked him, Frank Jr., what he think about the situation. And now Frank coming over there. And the women, this is a family, which all the men have said it, the women run this family. So the fact that Frank even coming over there talking, they all just looking at him like, boy, bye. We already made the decisions. We already know what we gonna do. Like, who said that everybody here is grown men? Jermisha's husband was like, everybody here is a grown man. Y'all, these women, y'all could go and sit outside. Y'all go barbecue. Y'all play pool. Do whatever y'all gonna do. We finna work this deal out. Is the vibes it was given. And Frank Jr. Is that his name? Is that Nicole's father? Nicole and Keisha's father? Honey, he came over there. We can do 3 houses right here. At 3 houses, child, go sit down. That's how they was looking at him. Then some conversation came up about a beauty salon and who gonna inherit that. And one of the cousins said she assumed that was going to her mama. Listen, a lot was happening at this party. But what we do know is that there is going to be a deal made, but the deal better include some pretty immediate funds for G1. or it's not happening. That's what I got out of the dinner. What did y'all get out of the dinner? Did y'all enjoy the episode? I did. It was easy. It was nice. Love the rodeo gear. I'm about to post my rodeo pictures. Shoot. It ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. But y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all for the next one. Bye.